Hi, it's Dre Griggs of Obsidian Wisdom. On this Wisdom Wednesday, we'll be answering the question, how to be successful in leadership even if you're an introvert. So when you're thinking about your skills, we're going to talk about four things that you want to focus on this Wisdom Wednesday when it comes to building your leadership skills so that you can set yourself up for success. I'm sure wherever you're at, you often see that you have these ideas, these visions, and we're going to start right there. More times than not, most people want to be leaders because they feel like they can help the company, the cause, or they can help in their mentorship or something like that. They see that there is a lack and they want to fix that problem. So even if you're an introvert, number one is you just want to simply always start with your strengths. If your strength is helping people, if that is what motivates you, then build your leadership around helping people, helping them accomplish their goals, helping them accomplish their tasks, helping them build their skill sets, helping them just in any way that you can. And keep in mind, as far as helping people is concerned, it's really only you have to be a couple steps ahead of them. There is no reason for you to have mapped out the entire process. You just simply have to be able to help someone get to where you're at. And the analogy that's often given is you talk about if someone's like in a hole and you climb out and you can simply show them how to get out of the hole. Even if you can't get them all the way where they want to be, you can at least get them started so that they can get out of the hole. And even if you're an introvert, so an extrovert may think it's better to have like webinars or like seminars and like different team sessions where they have a stage to perform. An introvert is going to take advantage of their one-on-one relationships. And for a proverb of the day, and I actually had noted it, it says the people who talk the best are not the only ones who can tell you the most interesting things. See, you have something interesting, naturally valuable to share with someone else just because you're a few steps ahead of them or because it's something that you're very passionate about, something you're very interested in, and because you're committed to the cause. So while you may not be able to speak many, one to many, it may be something where you can speak one to one, which is a strength. You don't have to look at the way someone else is doing something and say, if I can't do it exactly that way, then it means I'm no good at it. So I've been in positions, right, when you have your own company, you're often selling and helping people with their problems. And I've been in different situations where there is like this salesperson that just does like cold calls all day, cold emails all day, and just punches through everything. And they're often the most celebrated in most sales cultures. While myself, I'm someone who likes to teach and educate and build long-term relationships, and that does take a little bit more time, and so that's less celebrated. The idea in most companies is make the sales process as short as you possibly can so that you can continue and move on to the next person. And that just doesn't vibe with me and my natural desire to help and to teach. And so I focus on my strength, and you would do the same as far as yours. If your strength is helping people, lean into that. If your strength is organization or ideas and planning, lean into that. If you like to present, but the way you present is slightly different in one-on-one, lean into that. Just do what works for you. Just because the success and the blueprint of success has a certain image, a certain style, a certain viewpoint, it doesn't mean that you can't be successful in your own way. And so then number two, it kind of leans into that first one, and it's always about being authentic. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, has the ability to tell when someone is being authentic, being their true self. And the benefit of being authentic is it gives you the opportunity to set yourself up to where people who like your style are going to respect and be attracted to you. People who don't like the style are going to, kind of fade away, which is a benefit for you. Because oftentimes if you pretend to be something you're not, and then you attract the wrong people, you have to maintain this false image to maintain those relationships. And you often find that you end up creating your own prison as a result. So I find that being authentic is the best thing for you and is the best thing for others. By your authentic self, what ultimately I'm saying is, if you're comfortable in the idea that there's really nothing new under the sun, that all information has been given, has been understood, has been explored, and we're just really reframing, reshaping the way that information is presented, well, then you don't have to focus on creating something new. You just have to focus on sharing your vision and your idea and your understanding in a way that's unique and special to you. And as long as you do that, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you will find that you have the ability to bring other people into your fold, and they want to hear more about what you have to say. And whether that is flashy and big and extravagant with like lasers and fog lights and light beam shows, or if it's just where you sit and you have a cup of coffee and you share some ideas, either way, people are going to be interested in what you have to say. Number 3 is you want to focus on solving problems. Whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, your job as a leader, among many things, is to focus on solving the problems. The problems within the company achieving its goals, the problems within your team and managing different personalities, and then the problems on an individual level, where maybe you're helping people with at-home problems or confidence issues or whatever it is. You as an introvert leader, you can lean into your strength of listening and critical thinking and solving these problems, so that way your skills and your understanding is always on display. A lot of times we end up being drawn to the flashy and the shiny things, but as you already know, everything that glitters isn't gold. So when you really peel back the onion and you get to explore what someone's truly made of, you often find that your introverted skill, where you're listening and you're taking notes and you're really showing empathy and you're really taking in what people are saying to you, that it often sets you up better. And sometimes it does take a little bit of time for people to recognize you, and then that's going to speak into our 4th aspect. But when you are recognized, you are able to take advantage of that opportunity. You have positioned yourself where you've been listening, you've been taking notes, you've been recognizing the hiccups along the assembly line, and you've been offering solutions. And now when people are ready to listen to you, you're already ready to take advantage of that opportunity. As you probably heard, there's really nothing worse than being presented with your golden opportunity and not being ready to take advantage of it. So as long as you focus on solving problems, people will often recognize and find your skills and your understanding, because you're going to be giving solutions. And that fades a little bit into making sure that you're not like completely focused on getting credit. As long as you're solving problems, yeah, a couple times someone is probably going to take credit for your work. That's just often what happens, especially as an introvert, but it really happens to extroverts as well, where you may not be at the level to sit at the table with the other leadership. And so what may end up happening is whoever your direct leader is may be the person who's sharing your ideas. And then it's up to that leader to let people know, hey, this was, Dre, he gave me all these ideas. He worked really hard for me. Or he would just say, I've been working on this all night, and so now I have this idea, and here you guys go, and shower me with praise. It happens, right? And we all know it happens, especially if you're an introvert, so I get it. But as long as you focus on solving the problems, eventually people will recognize that it is you coming up with the solutions. Whether that person ends up getting promoted to the point that they now are like the emperor without clothes, where everybody's like, oh, I thought this person was really great. I don't know what's happened since we put this person in this new position. Or, maybe the person eventually is like, okay, I'm high enough up, or I'm far enough in my career, or I make enough money, and now I'm going to start developing my team, and I'm going to line them up for promotions, and then they start setting you up. Sometimes it happens either way. I've seen it both ways happen, but you often still want to be focused on that. The value that you bring to people is going to be valuable, right? And as you increase your economic value, it only is going to increase your skills and your abilities as a leader, and it's going to position you for new opportunities. And then the last and 4th aspect that we're going to talk about your leadership and being a successful leader as an introvert, that is going to be to try new things. You don't want to only do what you're good at. You don't want to only stay within your lane. Oftentimes you want to make sure that you're rounding your edges off, where maybe there's something that you aren't super excited about, you feel like you have good relationships, you feel like people understand you where you're at, or you're not sure how this other team is going to work out. Yeah, there's opportunities over there, but it feels like there's a lot of turnover over there. Like, I don't really know why there's so much turnover, but there's a ton of turnover. And I don't know if I want to start over by putting myself in that team, in that group, or that company. And that always happens. We find that there is a sense of urgency that we want to eventually build, where we're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm a leader. I'm solving problems. I want to be able to take on more responsibilities. And oftentimes the place that you have to take on more responsibility needs a lot of help. And it needs a ton of help. And so I don't want you to be discouraged by that. So you do want to make sure that you build that confidence in yourself and understand that even though you may not always be the one getting credit, that you have solved a lot of problems. And so if you start relying and building your own trust and confidence in yourself, well, then you're going to be able to speak out. And you lean back to our first one where you lean on your strengths, you're great at one-on-one. So maybe that means that if someone is taking credit for your work, that maybe you eventually speak one-on-one with your manager about it. Maybe you've built that relationship where you can speak to them, at least get an understanding, because they may not feel what they're doing is wrong. I've met many managers where it was a cultural thing, that simply that's what always happened, that the younger person does the work, the new person does the work, and the older person gets the credit, and then they sort of bring them along with them on the ride. And it may take a couple extra years, but they usually try to bring them along with them because they don't want to be too far away from their golden goose. But as long as you are speaking up for yourself and leaving your comfort zone a little bit to where you're trying new opportunities, you're letting people know how you feel, and it doesn't have to be in a big flashy and showy way. It can be in a very one-on-one, like I said, you kind of go out for lunch or something, and you're just like, hey, this is the way I'm feeling, this is what's going on, and I just want to let you know. And you do want to build that comfort, right? You don't want to be someone that just kind of lets everything happen to them. You want to be someone who is intentional with their life, their goals, their times, and they are setting themselves up for success. And so oftentimes your introverted skills of listening gives you the ability to ask great questions, to where when you're speaking with these people, you're like, okay, what are something that the company is working on? What is our vision for the next year? And then you can set that in your goals, or you can ask them, hey, what did you have to do to be promoted? And what do you see as my places of improvement? What do you see as my strength? Where you're leaning on your introverted skills, where you're listening, you're understanding, you're showing that you're like writing notes and making plans and being intentional. So that way, when you say something, it's a volume, it's a value. And then people understand, okay, this is the leader that we need to give more responsibility, more people under them, and a higher salary and pay and all that good stuff too. Sometimes your comfort zone just may be, I like the team that I'm on, or I like only managing this number of people, and I'm not comfortable managing more people or transitioning to a different team. Again, it takes a little bit of time for you to be comfortable with transitions. That's true for all of us, but it doesn't mean that you can't get comfortable with the transition. Even though you may start by leaving your comfort zone, ultimately all things that we do long enough, we build more confidence and comfort in. So you may be able to mirror that by saying, okay, let me shadow someone in that position. Let me see if I can read about it, understand about it, find an expert about it. Maybe I can ask someone about it, where you build this understanding and this comfort to where you're comfortable. You can go in that position and do just fine for yourself. So if you have any additional retirement questions, I invite you to check out my free retirement planning video training at obsidianwisdom.com/training. In it, I give you the entire Wisdomites framework that I use with my clients to help them eradicate financial stress, generate a passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy. Until next time, Wisdomites, remember, wisdom is asking the right questions to allow yourself to get the right answers. Keep asking those questions, and you will keep getting those answers. Continued blessings.